All right, what is going on, everyone, and welcome back to another Global Labs patch notes reading for October 11th. This came out today. I didn't get to read it yet, so we're going to be looking at it together. I heard there are a few changes, but I didn't actually read the notes officially. And yeah, so this is Google translated from Korean, so I'll try to make it make sense in English. And if you want to read this for yourself, I'll leave a link in the description to this patch notes page as well. So, additions and improvements. In the last update last June, hit evasion was revamped. We know that evasion not in a great spot right now, and DR is for the most part better for most people, unless you are in like the 1% where evasion, like you're super geared. But even then, most people choose DR. So when it was revamped, the evasion was successful. A miss indicator was displayed along with the reduced damage. So I've heard a lot of other partner creators talk about this as well. So like even in PvE, when you're grinding, it will still show like a miss as well, even if you have a lot of accuracy accessories and all that stuff. So that was something like, I don't know how to describe it perfectly, but it would still show a miss because there's like sort of an evade, but it didn't, and it was, I don't know, it was really weird, but I'm glad they're like talking about this now. So in this lab, work has been done on cases where critical hits and evasion are triggered together among special damages. That's good. So basically, special damage and miss weren't both displayed. Yeah, this is something I sort of knew about, but for the most part, it wasn't talked about a lot because it's not easy to actually identify it and test it. So it's like one of those things where you have to have played a lot and are really focused in looking at it to notice. But I think for a majority of people, you did not know this existed. Fix the character's movement when ascending a ladder has been appeared to be more natural. Sure, I guess. I don't really pay attention to that, but those are like the few instances, I guess, that are interesting. Dark Knight change, Twilight. Fix an issue where the dust skill could be used even when the weight exceeded 125. I'm gonna be honest, I thought that was a feature. And like, as we all know, if your weight is past 100 or 125 with the fairy, you move slower, right? I thought that classes were able to use abilities when you're overweight. You just move at like a 500% penalty speed loss. So like, was it worth it? I guess you could still do that, but you can no longer do that coming soon. Admittedly, I don't think I ever, maybe once or twice, I've actually done it, but there are very few times where I actually go overweight limit. So I honestly thought this was a feature. You just move with the penalty, but apparently it was not intended. Admittedly, I don't really know too much about all of these. I just know Wizards not in a great spot right now, and a lot of the Wizard streamers are not happy. I don't know these two enough to talk about it. Taoist is the new Dosa. As we all know, that Dosa Awakening came out recently, and it was kind of bugged, which is really weird because they spend so much time. Okay, at least I think so. You know how whenever a new class comes out, Succession usually is first, and then Awakening comes in a few months later? It's like when you do Awakening, you release it, and it's still bugged. What are you doing? Like, I wish that when they release classes, they would come out with the full package of both Succession and Awakening at the same time. Even if that means delaying the class a little bit longer so they can actually have time to test it and fix everything. That in a perfect world, they would release a class in its full state. That means I think people would spend just as much money. Like, I get that BDO is a business and games have to make money, right? But I still think that if they came out with a complete package, just Succession and Awakening, skills are tested, if people like it, people are still going to spend money on way inventory and all that stuff. So it's weird to me that they spend time creating like Awakening and it takes a few months. They release it and it's still broken, which is wild to me. Like, this is the only game. Like, I understand balancing. Like, if something comes out super OP and then they have to nerf it or buff it later, that's fine. But some of these skills are just straight up not working. And that's kind of wild. So that's my experience playing it. I have a video of me doing the Awakening and then testing out some of the skill combos and stuff. So if you want to see that, you can watch it on the channel as well. So let's see. Switching to the non-combat stance while wearing a sword has been added while taking out spirit. However, this pose is not taken while wearing certain costumes and certain movements. So that's just like a certain like cosmetic issue. Cool. When learning the skill, I don't know all these skills by name in English either yet. Just it came out recently and I just know them by colors. This is going to sound weird, but if you've played Dosa Awakening, you know the 5 colors and which 2 colors or like which element of color goes together. But I don't know the name of all the skills yet. So that's something I'm still working on learning. Skill description has been changed. Fixed the issue where a plummet skill would land an attack even if there was no target targeted when activated from a high place. So it's just doing like damage to nothing. Okay. Doesn't Striker do that? Like, you don't need a target. It just kind of hits things. So yeah, interesting. Seed sword farming. The phenomenon where the stamina for one hit was consumed twice as much when using Senkin farming. Once again, I don't know the skill names. If you showed me a picture of like what skill that is or what color, I think I would understand it a little bit better. An issue where skills would occasionally not activated even when stamina sufficient has been fixed. Yeah, I did notice this one actually. Some of the skills straight up not working. The phenomenon of monsters pushed to the left on the first hit when using the Te Hakseon swordsmanship technique in place has been fixed. When I tested that, I didn't really know if it was broken or not. I just figured that things weren't getting pushed when it says like knockback or something. The issue where battle accessibility improvement effect was not applied when using the Heresy Beiji technique has been fixed. I actually have no idea what that is. 5 elements mutual growth. When the description of the skills symbiosis mentions the effects of the symbiosis, the hit rate for the applied damage is applied normally now, but the phenomenon of it is not displayed in the skills thing has been corrected. So that's working fine, just text errors in the tooltip. Cool. So, admittedly, there could be more or less things broken, but there are only a few things I noticed that didn't work, and other Dosa players have reported it as well, so I'm sure they're going to work on it. So that's good. I expect to see some more fixes in the future. Occupation War and Stronghold War. Node War sieges. All right. Before the change. Okay, so basically, you know how there's like different tiers of war in each region? Now the number of people is more, and the like AP of each tier goes up, and each region. I think that's a good thing, because as time goes on, people get more gear. That's just natural progression in video games, so they have to raise it. Medaya and Valencia is up to 75 people and no cap for gear stats. Calpheon and Kama Sylvia from uncapped to capped. So they're switching this around. I've always thought that Calpheon and Kama Sylvia were capped, but Valencia was not capped. I guess it is now. Like, once this patch comes out, that's how it's going to be. We always thought that Desert PvP was the uncapped one, whereas Calpheon Kama was. Admittedly, I haven't really done too many Kama Sylvia Node Wars. I've done every other region. I've done Kama Sylvia maybe like 3 times, and then everywhere else is on the other regions. So good to know. The stage of the castle within the territory where the stronghold battles being taken place has been changed. Step 1 to step 4, basically tier 1, tier 4. That's the node difficulty, or like the number of people on each node, the gear score cap, and all that stuff. So something to read if you're interested. I'll probably take a look at that in more detail by myself later instead of looking at that. Cannon placement and marking ping function, that's actually really good. Believe it or not, most people are not good at using the cannon. I'm not throwing shots at anyone individually, but I've like, it looks and sounds easy to beat a cannon person in a war, but I've seen like cannons just straight up fly over objectives. I guess it's not as easy as it looks, but once you're good at it, you're good at it. Like, holy, I've seen some really good people on cannons and seen some people that just like have no idea what they're doing. There's like no in between. You're either good at it or you're not. So yeah, that's cool. They're adding a thing to make it easier to actually pinpoint where you're hitting, which is, I think, a good thing. So that's cool. Content, Imperial Delivery, and has been added to Nampo Village and Land of the Morning Light. Very cool. Added titles that can be obtained by defeating monsters in the Ulakita area. That's spelled differently in the translation, but it's Ulakita. Dark Seekers, Izrahid Highlands, City of the Dead, and Tungrad Ruins. Man, if only these titles came out when I was grinding for my telescope, that would have been nice. I would have had them all. But, you know, do I think I ever want to grind City of the Dead again now that I have my telescope? Nope. I still think Darkseekers is pretty good. Izrahid Highlands is also pretty solid. And Tungrad, obviously, is just across the board probably the best of the 4 spots here. I don't know. Actually, Tungrad has... Well, like, they all have different things for different reasons why you're grinding there. But I think if you were going for, like, silver, for example, Tungrad is probably the overall highest of the 4. Izrahid comes in second, maybe Darkseeker is third, depending on your gear. And City of the Dead, that one is just kind of scuffed, to be honest. But yeah, I've grinded all of these places. I've gotten my Ator shoes grinding this back in the day. I got my artifacts here and my telescope here from these 2. So yeah, I can assure you that I have hundreds of hours in each of these spots. All right, the ability to exchange items for increased reinforcement probability has been expanded. Oh, so this one, we talked about this a while ago, so for all of you who stocked up early, good for you. You might be profiting. I don't know. Maybe not like right now, but... So these crystallized despairs, you get them from like Calpheon Elvia, like Elvia Hex. You could turn these into fail stacks now, and it tells you how many. So like 50 of these at minimum price is 1 billion for 100 stack. Do I think 100 stack is worth 1 billion? Yeah, I think so. I think you can make it cheaper, but like for all the people who don't like the RNG process and you just want free 100 stack, cool. So yeah, I think it's worth it. Reinforcement probability that can be exchanged for Blackstones has been increased to plus 45. I feel like I know what they're trying to say, but I can't picture it. The ability to exchange like enhancement rate through plus 100 through crystallized despairs. Yeah, we talked about this in the previous patch. So for all of you who actually watched it, and you probably have a head start, you probably bought a few crystallized despairs. I bought a few. I didn't buy like the entire market, but I was just kind of seeing like how much it would be and everything. So, do I need stacks? I might going forward, but I need like 300 stacks, not 100s. But this is I think this is a good start for beginner players and people who are looking to get into the game as well. So, yeah, that's good. Blackstones to get fail stacks is this. Okay, so I'm gonna be honest with you. As a person who's played this game for years, you could do these with black stones from the Black Spirit when you're enhancing. This is already in the game. Previously, it would only go up to 40, and now it goes up to 45. Do I think a 45 is worth 400 black stones? No. I would always, if you're going to do the maximum, I would cap at 40 because I think you could make a 45 significantly cheaper, and this is almost double the blackstone rate for a 5 stack. So realistically, is the 45 worth it? No, I don't think so. Is the 40 really worth it? Not really either. But like some people start at that for some reason. So I mean, it is what it is. This is probably still what I would go to. 40 or 45, not great. It might actually be significantly cheaper to just straight up go with the crystallized despairs, go from 40 to like 60 or something, because 40 is a weird range when you're enhancing. And if you've watched all my enhancing videos, whether it's Black Star, Fallen Gods, just stuff in general, usually the start points for a lot of relevant things are either 30, 40, 60, 80, or 100. So like anything in between is kind of sketch, and like you really have to know what you're doing. So just watch my old videos, and if you're confused about what you should enhance and what stack, just ask, drop in the comments or something, and I'm happy to point you in the right direction. Don't just pick a random stack for no reason. Just I'm happy to help you guys as well. A phrase has been added to the description of the mushroom to help you see where they're used. I've never used this purple one before. I've used this red one in various alchemy, but I've never used that purple one before. But admittedly, I have no idea. So maybe they'll just adding some stuff in the future. Cool. But until then, I have no idea. The attack power of summoned monsters. Okay. Various monster things have been changed. Okay. Due to the gimmick of Kadri Ruins Decade, where you have to kill all the surrounding monsters if one or two are parked in the vehicle, the others it can be. Dude, I haven't even grinded this spot yet. I'll do it tomorrow or something and make a video, and then we'll see what it's like. So I'm glad they're getting some changes. Admittedly, I don't know what they are yet, but I'm glad there's some sort of change for the better. Request and knowledge, a new story await. I've done all the Land of the Morning Light 2 story quests, but if there's like new knowledge and dialogue that change, that's cool. So, background, NPC effects, and cutscenes. Various items have been either removed or replaced. I think that's good because there's a lot of things that most people don't really notice, but you got a big example was Elvia Orcs back in the day. As you all know, in the Marnie realm spot, you do the big oval. And then there were like random rocks where you get from point A to B that you would get stuck on. So every now and then they like to remove a lot of random stuff, and I think that's good. So yeah, that's a change. 23 terrain and objects have been changed to help auto pathing and movement. That's cool. You know what I'd like to be changed? The Golden Pig Cave. And so it's easier to move up instead of doing zigzags. So that would be nice. Olins, Omar, Ash Forest, Star Zen, Karanda Ridge, Dregan. These are towns. Valencia Farm, no one's there. Gowan Intersection, no idea where that is. Shuriken, and a lot of other stuff. Cool. The issue with a UI for entering the family name or applying UI for overlap to creations in UI fix. The UI frames have been improved. Always a good thing. Actually, you know what's funny? With the UI, there's a lot of things that people like. So there's the old UI back in the day where all the menus are on one screen. And then we have the new UI in game. I eventually just got used to the new one. And I don't know. I think overall, for the most part, like whenever they do sweeping UI fixes, I think it's overall good. And a lot of bug fixes and stuff. So let's see. Are there anything important that we need to look at? Awkward names, dialogue, and camera positions of some NPCs in the grasslands have been fixed. There are a lot of awkward names of stuff there, and not really there, this were in particular, but just in the world in general. I never really thought of it as a big deal. I'd rather them focus on like the entirety of the game more than like, oh, this thing has a weird name. I was like, I don't care. Okay, so attack range of a specific attack from the Kadri cannon and the Kadri runes Dekia was different from the effect and has been fixed. Oh, was this the issue? Okay, cool. Monster's name was displayed first when the monster appeared. Okay, sure. That doesn't seem like a big deal, but I'm glad they're fixing something. An issue where the game would not terminate properly intermittently when pressing the escape key on the reconnect attempt has been fixed. I've had this issue for a while. It's, you know how when you log out of the game, it just crashes. It doesn't like close normally. It would just hard crash, and I had to like manually exit out of it. So this could be one of it. I don't know. We'll see, and we'll see what happens in, I guess, a week or so. But I've had this weird issue just lately where it would just not close properly, and not really when the reconnect spot, but just like logging out normally. But when I'm in game just playing, there's like no issue. It's only when logging out, and I don't really know what to say if I were to send this to support and be like, yeah, my game just doesn't log out properly, and they'd be like, okay, so how do you fix it? I don't know, dude. But yeah, that's my problem. Weapon pieces could be obtained multiple times from the Black Star weapon crafting quest has been fixed. There's a thing that they give you when you're crafting a Black Star, but like I never really understood what it was for. So, cool. Okay, well, that seems like everything relevant. So, with that said, that has been the patch notes for October 11th. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. I would love to see you guys come back. If you enjoyed it, drop a quick like and everything. And we got some more videos coming up soon. And I will see you guys later. Peace.